everybody. I am really excited that we are here with Ayelet Raab, and we will talk about mortgages and renovations. So thank you so much, Ayelet, for being here with us this evening.
My pleasure.
Do you want to say a few words about yourself before we start?
Sure. Okay. Well, like I said, my name is Ayelet Raab. I live in Modi'in with my husband and 4 children. I've been living in Modi'in for almost 17 years now, and I've been in Israel for just over 26 years. I came when I was in high school. I've been a mortgage consultant for 8 years here at a company called Blue Crown Capital. Our offices are based in Modi'in, but we work on mortgages for clients all over Israel, working with all the banks, and for overseas clients, whether purchasing, making aliyah, or purchasing for investment.
Okay, great. So maybe we can start from a general background about mortgages, loans, renovations. There is a difference between loan and mortgage. How does it work? I really don't have no idea.
No problem. That's what I'm here for. Okay, so for the purpose of this call, we're not going to get into all mortgages or taking out a new mortgage necessarily when purchasing your first home or a property. What I will concentrate on is right now the basic differences in terms of taking renovations. The first way to differentiate what kind of loan you may or may not need when renovating your home is figuring out the amount that you will need. There's something that's called, in Hebrew, the halva'a l'shiput. It's a construction loan or a renovating loan. And then there's a mashkanta l'shiput, where you're mortgaging for renovations or for construction. What's the difference? A regular renovation loan is usually 100,000 shekel or less. So that's going to be the first indicator which way you go. A mashkanta is going to be if you need a significant more amount of money, more. The 100,000 shekel or less, and again, very often it is less, probably I would say on average 65,000. You can take this kind of loan from a mortgage bank, from a regular bank, from a credit card loan. That's why I say it's usually around 65,000, but it can even go some cases up to 100,000. It's more for, I would say, improvements in your home. If you want to upgrade something, some furniture, some tiles, a minor kind of renovation. And that kind of loan would be shorter term. You're not mortgaging your home, whereas opposed to a mortgage loan you can take for a longer period of time, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. And like we said, a larger amount of money. A regular loan also, in terms of when we were discussing the smaller amount, is more similar in rates and interest rates to all-purpose loans. Meaning you need to borrow some money. Like I said, it doesn't have to be from a mortgage bank because you're not putting your house up as collateral. You're not using your house as a guarantee. But for our sake, we're going to be delving into more the mortgage for the purpose of financing a renovation, because we'll be talking about much more significant kinds of renovations. When you're doing things with the tashtit, more the infrastructure of your home, changing walls, adding on room, doing things like that, as opposed to just an upgrade, something more that would add a value to your house, both with space, changing the outside of your home. All those kinds of things would be instances where you would take a mortgage for the sake of renovating, because you need a significant amount more money. Those kind of renovations are more widespread and not just, detailed pinpointed to one kind of fix. It's not just fixing something up. So that's basically when renovating the 2 different kinds.
Okay, so let's focus on really the mortgage, the mashkanta. And can you explain what's the process, what comes first, what we have to do in order to get this mortgage?
Okay, so first and foremost, in any kind of loan that you're taking, you have to first ask yourself, do I really need to do this renovation? Mm-hmm. That's the first question. If you come back with the answer, yes, I do need to do, this renovation, then you will be in a much better place if you start coming to the closest amount that you are going to be spending. Even before you figure out the loan amount, you first need to start getting to formulating and calculating exactly how much you need for the renovation. Okay? Mm-hmm. First of all, there seems to be a lot of first of all. All these first stages of the process are already in this kind of situation, speaking to somebody like you, an architect, a kablan, getting price quotes. Mm-hmm. And if you are reconstructing things in the mixture, like we know, you will be having price quotes that are kablan work, the contractor work. Then if, let's say, a big bathroom change is being included, then there's the prices for actually what you need to buy to put in, a new toilet, a shower, bathtub, cabinetry, that kind of stuff. Changing walls all involve electrical work. If you're redoing floors and all that kind of stuff, if you are adding on space to your home, it's not just sometimes as basic as we think that it might be. Pulling water, these are all infrastructure kinds of things. You want to be able to collect as close as possible to the amount that you will need.
Okay, but this amount will be general because, before you have a precise plan, it will be difficult to know exactly the prices needed for all the work. So something that can be 20% less, 20% more.
I would always say after you get to a number, give yourself a 20% grace for emergency, for the unexpected. Mm-hmm. But I think people very often don't do as much homework as they really can. Because if you know that you want to be making a change, first of all, if you're changing anything to the outside or you are adding space onto your home, you need to apply for a heter. You need to get approval from the city. So you need someone like you as an architect, and you need to get somebody to come in and do, let's say, the measurements of your home so that you can make plans. If you have the plan before you apply for the loan and you're not just shooting in the dark for a number, then you can start having a better idea. Okay, I don't have to pick the exact toilet. I don't have to pick the exact tile, but I'm going to have a better idea of how many meters of tile I need. I'm going to have a kablan can for sure give you a price quote for the contractor work when it comes into that. So you can get within a range of close. It doesn't have to come down to the shekel, but your range should not be, I need somewhere between 300 and 500. That's a big difference.
Yes, I understand. Yeah.
So definitely you want to become as exact as you can be and clarify the quotes. Or even start getting an idea of going to a tile place, kitchen places if you are redoing that in addition to other work. Try to get the best ideas you can, because after that, like I said, you will want to add a good 20% for wiggle room over there, for the unexpected. You don't know what someone's going to find when they start moving a wall or pulling electricity. Sometimes people don't then take into account, this might mean redoing air conditioning, and then what that would add, or the geves work and the painting of an entire house. So all those things, really try to make the best kind of plan. At that point, you can then approach a bank because you have an idea of what something's going to cost. And therefore, if you have any money of your own you can put down, or if you need to take that full amount as a loan from the bank. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, when you're mortgaging your house, there will be differences in the process if you already have a mortgage or if you don't already have a mortgage on your home. Mm-hmm. That can make a big difference because in the process is going to be the main question of, how much will the bank lend me? Mm-hmm. So the basic number that I can say is the bank can lend you 50% of the value of your house.
Okay.
Okay? So in terms of the process, after you have an idea of how much you want to borrow, how much you need for your renovation, then you can get an estimate of what your house is already worth. Look on the market, find out. You will have to do something. You will have to do an appraisal on the house to get an exact number, but you can more or less have an idea if you're hitting that 50% of the value of your home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? More often than not, a renovation is not going to be. The reason why that number comes into play is if you already have a mortgage on your house. If you've already maxed out the amount that you can take against your home, then you don't have any more space to add on for the mortgage. So that's why it's very, very important. So part of the process is if you have a mortgage already, I would start with going to your mortgage bank that you already have a mortgage because they've already registered your home. It's already in taboo. The one mortgage is already registered, and definitely start there. Mm-hmm. But don't be afraid to compare with other banks. The process also is that if you're already going to the bank, if you already do have a mortgage, then you can do one of two routes. You can do something called a mihzul mashkanta, okay, which is a refinancing, saying, well, right now I have X amount of a mashkanta on my house, and with this loan, I need an additional Y. So I want to repurpose all of it and take out a brand new loan. Mm-hmm. That's option one. Option two is I want to keep the mashkanta I have, and just on every component of my loan that I have, I want to add on to equal the amount that I need. Mm-hmm. So this is an important part of the process because you want to be able to go to your bank that you have a mortgage at, mm-hmm. and then maybe even compare it to other banks, and you want to know what the difference is with these two options. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a mortgage, then you go right ahead to one bank, another bank, and this is definitely what we do on behalf of our clients in terms of comparing and finding the best fit and the best rates and terms that a bank will offer and lend you. Mm-hmm. Okay? That is the first part of the process in terms of order of events. You are not taking out a loan until you first lay the groundwork for how much you need and what the bank will lend you. Okay, so that's really, really important. Okay. Once you decide, then you pick up a bank and you like the terms, you'll need to actually apply for real for approval. So you'll need to collect the documents that the bank tells you that you need in order to apply. You'll have to show identity and income. If you are doing, like I said, if you are doing this for shiputz, for renovation purposes, you're also going to have to show the relevant heterim if that was needed, if you're changing space to your home, mm-hmm. Or especially the outside of your home. So you might even want to start earlier with that to have the heter. Because it's silly to have the loan approval without, then it could be months, who knows, till you have the approval from the city that you can actually make those changes. When you are doing a renovation to your home and you want to get a loan, you will need to have your home appraised, and it has to be by a bank approved appraiser. Mm-hmm. So an appraiser will come before and he will assess your home and give a value to your home. That's the whole basis of if you can get up to 50% of the value of your home. What are they basing it on? They're not just basing it on your word, they're basing it on a bank-approved appraiser. Mm-hmm.
But this 50%, I think it also affected of how much it's your income, or?
That's not the 50% part. That's going to be that will impact how much the bank may lend you, because that can impact your monthly return. Okay. In terms of regulation of what is allowed, you can mortgage up to 50% of your home for renovation.
Okay, I understand.
Okay? Mm-hmm. That's basically the process. Then you move forward. Then you move forward with the bank, you make the application. Different banks have different requirements in terms of when the appraiser needs to come or if he has to go back or not. But from there, you sign on the loan agreements with the bank. and you move forward.
Okay. Are there other costs involved or?
With taking out a mortgage? Yes. So just like when you're taking out an original mortgage, as opposed to when you're taking a credit card loan or an all-purpose loan just from a regular bank and you're not using your home as a guarantee, then there really aren't additional costs except for like a bank opening fee or a registration fee. When you're taking a mortgage, then there's first of all also the bank registration opening fee for the work that they do. That's basic. That's a standard calculation that all banks do. It is 0.25% of the loan amount. When you are taking a mortgage on your home, when you're mortgaging your home, you then also need life insurance and building insurance. Even if you have life insurance already, this needs to be mortgaged to the bank as the beneficiary. So the life insurance is in the amount of the loan and the length and the term, meaning the length of it. And the building insurance is in the amount of the rebuild value of your home. Again, these are all, that's also set by the appraiser. So that's definitely an additional cost that you incur when you have that. There's then registering the mortgage and the title of the property. These aren't necessarily then huge amounts, but things definitely to take into consideration in that over 20% of what just the renovations might be costing you. Then there's if you need heterim, what that will cost you. If there's hetel hashpacha, meaning if you're improving the value of your home and the value of your home goes up.
No, okay, but this is not connected to the loan. It's not, it's something that you will pay in any case.
It's connected to that money you have to put aside.
Ah, yes, of course.
So same thing with insurance. You can't roll that into the loan. Same thing with a lot of the other things. You can't roll in. Just like you can't, a lot of other things that come into play. If you need anything legal with the lawyer, you can't roll that into the loan as well. Okay. But hetel hashpacha is a completely separate story. You're absolutely right. We don't want to complicate people with that.
Yeah. Okay. And when I receive the money from the bank, where the money goes? I get the money and I pay the contractor, the architect, or the money goes directly to the company who builds, or how?
Okay. So as a whole, every bank has their own, details involved and conditions, but definitely if it's not too large a sum, then very often after you get the approval and you show them all the price quotes, the money goes directly to the account of your choice. Mm-hmm. When you are dealing with a longer spread, much more complicated or stages of the renovation, it's very possible that the appraiser will have to come back to the house, set a timeline for different stages met, and per stage, different percentages of the money will be released. Again, on the whole, the money is released to the borrower. And then it's up to you to then pay the kablan, but show the bank the receipt.
Okay, so basically we received a question from Elisheva. She asked if someone takes a loan, does he have to prove that the money is used for the renovation and not for anything else? So
basically, yes.
I can't take the money and go to the Caribbean.
No.
No, okay.
Borrow money for something like that, it's called an all-purpose loan, and the bank can approve it or not approve it. But the difference also is, and this is really important, why prove it? Why do it this way? It's because the interest rates you get are significantly different. Mm-hmm. When you do a mashkanta for renovations and you're showing the proof of what you're using it for, and therefore it's not just an all-purpose loan. You have a purpose. The purpose is for renovations and home improvement, then your interest rates will be much more similar to a regular mortgage kind of rates of a home that you're purchasing, as opposed to, it might be somewhere between 0.5% to 1.5% higher, as opposed to an all-purpose loan can be 5% higher, 6% higher. So it is actually very important to know that you will be having to show proof if that's the kind of loan you're looking to obtain.
Okay, thank you. And is it possible to apply for a loan after the works are already finished?
That's very much on a case-to-case basis. There usually is, it's called in Hebrew, there's something called a hechzer hon atzmi, meaning a return of your down payment, both with a regular mortgage and even renovation. There's a time cap on it though. You can't years later say, I did this work, can I get paid, can I get paid back now, and then have it be a loan. It's usually within a 6-month bracket, but that would be something that we'd work on a case-to-case basis for to see if it's applicable.
So it can be done, basically.
With the time cap. It has been done.
Okay. Okay. Are there any differences between New Olim, Israelis, people that are still, maybe they are abroad and they bought an apartment in Israel and they want to renovate it and they want to take a mortgage here in Israel? Is it possible there are differences between all these categories?
All the different kinds of things. Okay. So a lot of that comes down to how much will the bank lend. To answer the basic question, yes, there is a difference between Israelis and non-Israelis. Just like when purchasing your first home, an Israeli can get for a single home for one property up to 75% financing. Someone who's not an Israeli citizen and resident can only get up to 50%. Okay, so that's first and foremost. So if somebody already has a mortgage on their home and they want to add to it, they very often can even add up to 75% financing, and a non-Israeli will not be able to do that. The rates, unfortunately or fortunately, are definitely better for Israelis than non-Israelis. The bank will, up the rates a little bit for non-Israelis. That being said, the kinds of loan you can get also differs between if you're Israeli or non-Israeli, how much variable or fixed. These are all words that I'm throwing out there, but we work through with our clients on those kinds of details. But the basic answer is, whether you're Israeli or not Israeli, you can get a loan, but there will be different conditions for that.
Even if you speak non-Israelis that live in Israel and they still didn't do Aliyah, or non-Israelis that live abroad, it's the same?
Well, non-Israelis that live abroad have a different issue in that if they're not here when they want to be signing and getting a loan, they will need somebody to sign for them. They'll need a power of attorney. They'll have to have a bank account opened in their name, which isn't always necessarily easy to do if you're not here. You also need to show different kinds of documentation in terms of both ID and income, tax returns. It's just a matter of different things that the bank will require. If you're not Israeli, but you're in Israel, again, you don't have a Tudat Zehut to show them. So it's going to be passports. It's going to have to show, the kind of income that you have. That's also a very important and very significant point on how much the bank will lend you. Because you might have a house valued at a very high amount, and 50% of that, if that's what you want to mortgage for renovation purposes, that will be easy, like no problem. Let's say my house is worth, 4 million shekel. 50% of that, in theory, is 2 million, but I only want to take out a 1 million shekel loan. The other condition is then, can you afford the loan that you're taking? So the bank, based on the value of your house, is one regulation, but then based on your income and your credit and your risk, the bank will then also have to calculate, can you afford this size loan? So all that comes into play.
Okay, and is there a difference between Olim Chadashim and Israelis, or advantages for New Olim, or nothing?
The truth is, with renovations, no. Because the only time really that Olim, non-Olim come into play is when you're talking about purchase tax. And that doesn't even come into play with your first home, because Israelis get the best kind of bracket. So whether you're an Israeli Oleh or have been here already for 15 years, it's the same bracket. But if you're talking about an investment property in your second home, that would be a good time to use your OLIM rights if you're within the first 7 years of living here. But otherwise, in terms of mortgage rates and getting or the benefits that you get from a loan, it's the same for whether you're an Olet or just a regular Israeli who's been living here for a long time.
Okay, thank you. And between the questions that we received, Rachel asked, she wrote, it's a known fact that paying mortgage can take years, as if never ends. Is there a different time period for renovation mortgages?
So this comes down to what your needs are. Like I said, if you're looking for more of a minor renovation, less than 100,000 shekel loan, then you're not as tied down. It'll be a shorter term loan. You can take a 5-year loan. It'll be, you know, sometimes higher rates. So you'll have to, because it's a short term loan, you'll have to be able to afford the amount. But the bank doesn't own you in the same kind of way. You didn't put your house up as a guarantee. People take out a mortgage when they need a substantial amount more financing. And then there's an advantage to that of, yes, spreading it out over time, because that lowers your monthly payment and cash flow. So it's a matter of how you're going to look at it, you know, what you want to invest in. If you're looking to invest in upgrading your home, adding value to your home, more kids or grandchildren, or adding space, or your standard of living has changed, then you have to make the calculation of, you know what, maybe I have all this money in the bank. What's more worth it for me? Is it more worth it for me to invest my money in some fund or bond or something where I can make 5%? And if I take a mortgage and the average is around 3.5% interest rate, then do the math yourself. So I think it's a matter of really perspective. You know, is it a business for the bank? Yes. The bank's not doing you a favor. I mean, they're in the business of making money. So it's always going to be to their advantage, but it is a benefit to you because you're strapped for cash and you might need 500,000 shekel and you don't have that. So I think it's all a matter of perspective, that question.
Is there a limit in the age of the person that is asking for the loan? I mean, they're giving loans at any age?
Excellent question. There is a limit. There is. As a general rule, a mortgage, and that's where it ties into life insurance, because you can get insured basically up to the maximum age of 80. So a mortgage, most banks will give a mortgage up to 75. There are definitely exceptions to the rule where we can push it to 80. But
not bad.
No, not bad. It's a wonderful age to be and still be able to, you know, be dealing with the loan from the bank. But depending on your age, it'll limit the length of your loan. Like if you are 60 and the bank approves a loan until the age of 75, then your payments will be spread out over 15 years and you won't be able to take a 25-year loan.
Okay.
So it affects it like that.
Okay. And we received some more questions, but I think that you covered all the topics before.
Okay.
Valeria asked, what is the maximum percentage that the bank lends for the works? And you told us before.
Right. It could be maximum up to 75% of the value of your home, but it will be very much dependent on specific situations. And again, it's so important to understand there's that regulation of how much the bank is willing under a general circumstance, and then also included what you can afford. Like if you're taking a 1 million shekel loan and it works out with the value of your house, but you tell me that, okay, but I really don't want to go above 3,000 shekel a month in payments, then you can't afford a 1 million shekel loan. So there's math to be done and things to work, you know, and things to work out. And the bank, to answer the exact question, is if there's a maximum percentage of the bank lends for the work? Yes, there is a maximum.
Okay. And how are you helping people that have to decide if to take a loan, how much to take, how to do that? How can you help them before this process that it seems a bit frightening?
It can be a bit frightening, which is definitely where we come into play in lowering as much anxiety when dealing with this as possible. And a lot of the red tape and being an advocate on behalf of the clients with the banks and understanding the process. So like I said, it is really important first to understand what your needs are and get a general idea of what you will be spending. It's our job to work with you and figure out your financial position of what also you can then afford. You might say, I need to do all this work in my house. And like I said, it's going to come to 500,000 shekel. And then we help our clients work out by simulations what that might mean in terms of monthly repayments, where all the other costs that you accrue with the mortgage, come into play. Mm-hmm. We then also do all the legwork for our clients. We will collect all the documents from you. We tell you what you need to get, what documents you will need for us to then make the application on your behalf. Mm-hmm. And then we are there for our clients every step of the way, from making the application, getting the approval, comparing it with other banks, getting you the best terms and rates for your specific needs. Every kind of mortgage is not necessarily relevant to each person. It's very personalized and individualized based on your needs and your financial position. And then it doesn't end there because, like we said in the beginning, there might be stages along the way. You may not just get all the money in one shot. You might need help with the different releases and what happens in working with the bank.
Mm-hmm. I understand. And when people can reach you if you want to get advice?
Oh, excellent. So the best place is to reach out to us on our website. It's bluecrowncapital.com. Blue as in the color, B-L-U-E, crown as in a king or queen on their head, C-R-O-W-N, capital, C-A-P-I-T-A-L.com, bluecrowncapital.com. If you want to email me directly, then you can reach out to me at ayelet.raab@bluecrowncapital.com. And I will be happy to share my cell phone privately with anybody who would like to reach out to me that way.
Okay, thank you. You can write after that below the recording of the live, all these details, so it would be easier for people to reach you.
100%, for sure.
Okay, it was super interesting. I really, iskalti, Hebrew. I learned a lot.
Right.
Thank you so much for accepting my invitation.
Right. We learned that we each have our own niche of expertise that we didn't even realize how much there is to know about something else.
Yes, and it's really interesting also, to understand all the other stages that are before and or after my work. So interesting.
Exactly. I think that's also why it's very important to have professionals like us being able to work together and work well together, because you see how often the process includes both stages, both people along the way.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here.
Thank you, and good night.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.